welcome to Naziare U-boat pen. So come along and I'll take you on a little journey into the history of this bunker. This is one of the entrances to the U-boat pen. Now if you see the size of it, I mean you can't see behind me, it's all closed off. They've turned this into more of an entertainment place now. I think there's shops behind this here, that there. But here, it's wide enough. It's wide enough to take 2 U-boats. Altogether, there was 14 pens built on this U-boat base. 8 were dry dock ones. In other words, they could basically dry them, run water out to them, and then they could carry on working on the U-boat to get them fixed up. The construction was started in February 1941 and was finished by June 1941 as well. This U-boat pen base is opened up to the public now, so a lot of it's been converted for other people's use. There's shops and all sorts in here, but if you see across there, that building there, that's a Fortified lock. They built that, I think, between 1943 and 44, and the idea was to protect U-boats without getting bombed before they came into these U-boat pens. We'll have a look at that later on, and I'll give you a bit more explanation about it. There's another of the docks that would have come. Obviously, this is where they come in for the Loire, where the Loire River is the other side of that Fortified lock over there. Come across here, and all this now, as you see, it's all tarmacked in. You may notice that this is wide enough to have 2 U-boats in it. And this one. I think that's the museum actually. I'm not sure how much you can see on this here. There's a bit of a gantry built up now for some exhibition up there. We're not sure it is because we can't read French. But as I may have said before, that there was 14 U-boat pens built here. The first 8 were actually dry pens. Now, we've just come across the pens that can fit 2 U-boats side by side, so they're more likely to be the dry pens. This one's a single U-boat pen. Now, with this a dry pen, I've not counted how many there is, what it could have been, we don't know. There is definitely some blast gates down there, they'll all have had them anyway. The wind is really strong here. I'm in the blinking corner trying to keep out the wind. As I said before, a lot of the stuff in this U-boat pen has been changed, so it's been made of use after the war, and there's quite a few shops in here. Number 8 there, so 8. Let's have a look. Oh, that's interesting. 1 to 8 must be that way. Yeah. So 1 to 8, so 8, and then facing the sea to the left. They're all dry dock pens. So that one down there, what I showed you before, which is a single U-boat pen, must be a dry dock. The other ones that we saw before, the ones that would fit 2 U-boats side by side, must be wet docks, and it looks as though they can't be drained of water. Well, this U-boat pen's proper touristy. We're going to lift to the top of the roof. Now we're going to show you what a Fangrost roof's all about, and one of the reasons why the Allies could never penetrate these type of roofs on U-boat pens. And what you see here, we're actually in the explosive chamber of a Fangrost roof. A Fangrost roof is a mixture of, you probably can't see these here, I'll try and show you outside. They're like an upside down U, about 1 metre thick by about 2 metres wide. And they've got small gaps in between them, and there's a reason why they've got small gaps in between. Now, what happens when a bomb hits this roof? It's going to either hit the upside down U concrete and fall between these wedges, or it's going to penetrate straight through the wedges and hit the floor, which is basically here. Now the idea is these wedge-shaped concrete beams are reinforced beams, by the way, and they catch the bomb, they detonate the bomb, and then all that power, when the bomb goes off, disperses across all of this gap here. So when it disperses, the bomb has somewhere, or the energy which the bomb releases has to go somewhere, and it'll go across that chamber there, it'll go across that way, go across that way. In other words, all that bomb energy just gets dispersed, so it just do very little damage. There's also below me, which I'll try and find, some little another sort of layer of an hollow floor below us as well, and it's got triangulation and it's got chippings as well, and it's all to do with dispersing the energy of the bomb. In other words, so it doesn't actually penetrate on the actual roof itself, which is below us, which is 3 to 5 metres thick anyway, and the U-boats would have underneath this. This was an absolutely brilliant design by the Nazis to stop these bombs going through down to the U-boat pens. Even when they started to develop the tall boy and the Grand Slam bomb, which the £10,000 and £20,000 bombs penetrated earthquake bombs, they still couldn't break through all this lot. The idea of one of these earthquake bombs or tall boy bombs was when they were dropped from a plane, they were designed to travel much faster than gravity, which is about 120 miles an hour. They were designed to travel at about 750 miles an hour, which is like nearly 1,000 kilometres an hour. Very, very quick actually. And the idea was just to basically either theoretically they didn't need to land on a structure like this, they just need to land at the side of it because it's called an earthquake bomb. The idea is to try and do something to the foundations, upset them or just set them off the foundations or destroy parts of it, because it would bury itself into the ground and explode. And they would send a shockwave through the building and, in theory, make it weak. In this case, with these things here, it didn't succeed very well actually. And they tried to, the planes that dropped these bombs, they dropped from a very, very high height. I'm not sure how many thousand feet, but I'll put it in the bottom. And to get that speed going, some of these tried to penetrate this U-boat pen, and like the other pens with the Fangrost roof on it, never worked. They did damage it, but they didn't do any damage at all to the U-boats below. Upturned U, if you want to call it, not concrete. I've sat on these big massive pillars as well. They've got to be 2 metres high by about at least 2 metres thick. And that supported the roof, but it's also created this void as well. So to show how big this U-boat pen was, all this is part of that Fangrost roof. A lot of it's been taken away now. The roof's also designed in the middle just to form a chamber so it runs any rainwater off it as well. This triangular section here is part of the Fangrost roof construction. Now, just imagine on top of that with the concrete blocks, and then on top of that would have been the domes, the U-shaped domes. Then you've got something like 3 metres of concrete. You've also got that triangular section there. That's a hollow as well. I think it's got. I'm not sure. I think it had some granite or something underneath it as well, and that's all to disperse any bombs that hit this roof. Now below this triangular bit where the roof is below it, which I think is another 3 to 5 metres thick, and U-boat pens below that, they're usually covered in metal sheeting, because even though the bombs didn't do much damage, they could still lose some pieces of concrete that would fall onto personnel, injure them or kill them. So the idea of the sheet metal is to catch any bits that are falling. This section of the roof's been destroyed. Now, whether it was actually one of the tall boys or the Grand Slams that hit this, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. But if it did, then it's obvious, because this part here, it looks as though you can walk on it through here. So it's safe enough to walk on. So if that's what the tall boys did, they also didn't do much damage to the roof below. It probably would have destroyed the Fangrost roof anyway, or that section, and the rest would have been dispersed. But generally, it looks as though the rest of the roof's okay. Now, I think that's an example of corrugated metal that they had underneath this roof to stop any falling parts of debris onto personnel if any bombs dropped and created any problems in the pens itself. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the metal corrugated sheet that's underneath this roof. And we're in the pen now, in the U-boat pen. That's in case any bomb that landed on this roof, it may have knocked bits of concrete off it. And the idea is to that metal sheet there catching the concrete without any pieces falling and hurting personnel or even killing them. Wow, it's windy up here. We're on top of a anti-aircraft position above St Nazaire U-boat pen. I've crouched in here because the wind's that bad. You won't be able to hear me. Now this anti-aircraft position obviously can cover all the aspect of this U-boat pen and trying to shoot down the enemy. I'll show you around in a minute from where we are, but you won't hear anything anyway because it's that windy. Perfect example at the top of a Fangrost. Across from us now is the covered dock. Now, what you can see over there beside the St Nazaire Bridge is the Loire River. Now, when a U-boat wanted to dock into one of these pens, if for instance the pen wasn't ready, they would send the U-boat inside that dock there, and then I presume there'd be blast door gates and it'll be protected there until one of the pens is ready to let it in. And then when the pens are ready and the course is clear, then they can release the U-boat from that dock there, that covered dock, straight into one of the pens and close the blast doors on it and start working on it. Now, again, see the shuttering? Typical German style. Shuttering, spragging, and then pouring, and then vibrating all the bubbles out, and this is what you're left with. This is where the bits of mortar still running through the... And that's it. Now this is 70 odd years old and these little edges are still on yet. Rebar knackered. There you are. Look at that there. All that metalwork exposed now and rotting. Well, there's one of the bomb blast doors anyway. Now this here would have been to, I would say, supply, bring the goods in to supply these U-boats with the necessary stuff to get them sailing again. Now, bomb blast door here, very similar to the one at Chariot. It's about 600mm thick, which is 2 foot, and it's got the at least 5 metres high, 16 foot high, and I don't think I can actually see in this. I think it won't open. So look. No, it's solid. But you know it's hollow with some struts in it to give it some support. But there's a bomb blast door at St Nazaire. I think the French have done a very good job actually on St Nazaire. It would cost too much to blow the thing up and get rid of it, so let's make use of it. So inside there it's all been converted for offices, shops, museums, cafes. You can even rent a bike out if you want to. Push bike, that is. So I'm not sure you can see that. Now this is a covered dock. As I said before, that gives the U-boat that's in there some protection. I've got a feeling you can get 2 U-boats in there actually. It's that long. Some protection before they actually went into the pens themselves, which is across the way. Now this road here would not have been here in the 1940s, but as you can see, this section there looks quite original, to be honest with you. And then that piece there looks like a gate, that sort of, yeah, that's a gate that closes. Gives it some protection against enemy aircraft and bombs. and possibly torpedoes, we never know. Right, we're in the covered dock, going on the roof to have a look round the roof and see what that was made of. Well, there's no bomb displacement roof on here, any Fangrost roof here, so it was either didn't have one or it has been taken off so we can walk around on top of it. What you see in front of us is a metal cupola. Now the holes in there, I'm only assuming they're either machine gun mounts. I don't think they are. I think they're more likely observation mounts. It's non-rotating, and the concrete below, I can see how it's piled up like that. The idea of that is if it rains, it gets rid of the water. Now, these are very similar to cupolas on the Maginot Line, but they don't call them cupolas on the Maginot Line, which is a French fortification. They're called cloches, which basically means bell. Well, ladies and gents, this looks like one of the cannons off the Campbelltown destroyer, which destroyed the gate down the bottom where the dry dock is. There you go. This is probably as a monument to the men who fought here, the commandos who fought here, 28th of March 1942. Right, I've come back in the van out of the wind. It's so bad, I'm not sure if you can actually hear me. I've not checked the clips yet, so I don't know how good or bad it is, but I've tried my best for talk as I've been walking through these U-boat pens and this fortified lock. I'll give you some information regarding the U-boat pens and the sizes. These U-boat pens, there's 14 pens in total, and there's 8 dry docks. Now, if you're facing the pens from the fortified lock, it's the ones on the right hand side where a single pens itself. They're the dry dock ones. The double ones don't seem to be dry dock pens. In other words, they can't drain them to work on them. I'm assuming they must work on them, unless they're there for storage. I'm not quite sure. But they'll all have blast door gates anyway. They'll have blast doors coming up to protect them against, as I said, bombing and possible torpedo launches. I'm not sure. These pens are actually long enough to take up the Type 21 U-boat, which was the latest U-boat near the end of the war that the Germans had invented. The base size is 300 metres long by 150 metres wide and 80 metres in height, which equates to 1,000 foot in length, 426 feet in width and 60 feet in height. The total area this U-boat covers is 39,000 square metres. Inside this building was quite a few offices to support the staff and all the U-boat flotilla crews as well. I'll give you a rundown of what they were. 64 workshops, 94 rooms for munitions and storage, 150 offices, 92 dormitories for crews, 20 pumps in total for draining these dry docks so they can work on the U-boats, 2 bakeries, 2 electric plants to keep everything running, 1 restaurant and 1 hospital. The roof thickness was 8 metres or 25 foot. That included the Fangrost roof as well, which you no doubt I've shown you previously on this little movie I've done. Now I'll give you a quick rundown of the spec of the covered lock, which is across from the U-boat pens. The total length of the lock was 155 metres in length, 55 metres wide and 40 metres in height. And that, to me, for that length, I wouldn't be surprised you could get 2 U-boats in there at the same time. That equates to 500 feet in length, 82 feet wide and 46 feet in height. The lock roof is anti-aircraft position on, and if you'd seen it before, it had a cupola as well, a metal cupola. Well, I hope you like the little movie video on Nazaire U-boat pens and the covered lock opposite it, and the information that the little bit of information I've supplied. So hopefully you've enjoyed that one, and I'm hoping that you're going to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.